Vice Chair, we are ready to proceed.
Council ko abarakam pareta le purkatente.
Welcome back, Mbakadi.
Council ko ibisimila bokoteke mbakadi.
Before the break,
Council ko janni mita dahari mula.
you had earlier told us about what your husband told you about his ordeals. How he was beaten and how his manhood was destroyed. So I'd like to ask a few follow-up questions with respect to some of the issues that you raised. You earlier mentioned that your husband, after his release, usually suffer from suffocation sometimes. Sorry, it's just slip of the tongue.
Yes, well, when he was released, he suffered from suffocation.
Can you please describe how that suffocation usually comes to him?
According to what he told me, he used to get some experience where it's like something comes up from inside his system and gets up to give him this feeling of not being able to breathe well.
You earlier also mentioned that his doctor gave him a pump to help relieve him from the Can you please describe the pump for us?
It looks like a pot. It's a long one. That is what the doctor normally give to him. But the day he passed away, because that day the pump was not with him, we did not know that the pump was finished. Each time he has that suffocation, we just rush and bring in the pump. And we put that into his mouth. But that day, it seems the content of the pump was finished.
How long did it take usually when these occur?
Sometimes it takes up to 2 hours. And sometimes we have to shake this pump before we are able to put into his mouth. Sometimes it's only through the grace of God that he will open his eyes.
Were you told the name of this condition by the doctor?
Council ye nyim sasa Kenya fo alien bang fo doctor ya fa alien bang la jaralla.
Bira doctor ma fo na manta na nata bira bota ditening ay nyin soto doctor ma fo.
No doctor told us that. He never had this sickness. He came with it after the detention.
You had also mentioned that your husband was kept in Bambadinka for some time. Did he tell you the conditions under which he was in Bambadinka?
He said where they took him in Bambadinka.
Abeje abalo taro aka ning ameta aka woleta asala dendi ko toromondo na toromondo asi o sinandi ngodun wo suma ya woleka fonyu suma dia.
He said the place sometimes the sweat from his body is that what he uses to touch on his shirt so that he wears that to get cold.
Fonye ko aninyi mbota jele bawo na beje kandonyin sasa membala malla fi kandol.
He said
kandonyin aka soto wolto anyin fonko soto wolto.
He got this sickness from that place because of the heat that he experienced while in detention.
You also earlier told us that when your husband arrived in Soma, he was unable to walk for some time. Can you recall how long it took for him to be able to walk?
It took almost a week. He was not able to walk.
How about the pains on his body? How long did it take?
Akaye dimingu membabala ay wati jelleta.
Mol membabala.
The pain on his body.
Birana ta ditene ay alanyim ay tata fo kar killing anata na pisaya ba um fananu kan mo fim fonko kelen ka borol nyini mol nyinin ka taman ser borol diala. It took
almost a month when he came in before he was able to experience any relief in the pains, and we also gave him some local herbs which he used, and after a while his children started walking him around the compound. And when he said that, he will tell us, ask for understanding that what is in him is going to kill me. I cannot live anymore. And he did not live.
How long did it take from his release to the time of his death?
It took almost a year since his release to the time of his passing away. To put it, it's almost that amount of time.
You told us that your husband was the main breadwinner of the house. At the time of his detention, how did you manage as a family?
We faced hardship and we worked. And that was how we were able to take care of our family. Because at the time, some of his male children were not yet mature.
dindiŋol meŋ be jee la karambuŋo aniŋ na kuraŋolu ye a bee le kuntu.
So at that time, the school fees for the children and our electricity, all of those were, affected, and even the current was cut off.
At that time, how many of the children were going to school?
Council kay wotumo dindin jelle bita kan karambuŋo to.
Mo lulu katale.
5 kids were going to school.
A dindiŋol nke ba malu atara woli menu be karambum bato woli menu kata primary school menu be karambum bato wol tata le fo imina mo sesi la bari wol la karanoti nyata.
Those that were going to senior school were almost about 8, but all of them could not continue pursuing their education.
What was your main means of survival at that time?
Council kay alla baluda famu muneta ka balu munela wotumo.
Toluka balu nan bitiko lebembulu.
We had shops.
Aka balu wala.
That was where we got our.
Anaka business o menke nyinkorda wafo.
We also benefited from his business of the house selling that he was doing. And that is where we pay school fees, pay water bills.
Amang continue no kote ke bawo biri amuta ala dindingol mang meng sakosi a continue.
The business could not continue because when he was arrested, his kids were not mature enough to be able to control that business.
How about your relationship with your community? How was it at the time of your husband's detention?
Council kay al ninja ma membe siring al latara nyaabe nyaadi le non wato me ya lon ko ye kemuta non wotembo.
Now wato mbatata le bawo lungo dobe se domoro soto lungo dobe nta soto la.
We suffered. There were days when we had food. There were other days that we did not have food, and our water and electricity were all cut off. Nobody came to our house. We don't go to anyone's house also. Because we were seen to be opposition and not part of the government. That was why no one came to our house, and we also went to nobody's house. For someone to help you, that person must feel you. So when he came, by God's grace, he tried until he became better. He will try and go out here and there. And he got back to his work. So we got some survival from his business, but because of his poor health, he could not get enough to pay for the school fees.
Sorry. At the time of his death, did your condition improve?
Nakul mang sono yako bao nakul tarta nyame idalta minna ni ma soto man sono ya nakul.
Our things did not improve, given that there were things we were used to which we were not getting, and therefore our situation did not improve at all.
Can you tell us about that?
Council kai fo isi wo fo no nyabang.
Me nakol me nkayalo nkabalu me na wole ketan na bitikol.
What we survived from was from our shops.
So what happened?
Council kai mune na take.
Nata o na baludu la nata o bitikol be le businna.
Those shops that we survived from, they seized them from us.
How were they seized?
Council kay yawlu talibulu nyaadile.
Sefo la nata noma sefo.
The chief came after us, the chief of Jara.
Nata notice odina.
He gave us a notice.
Yanaka notice odina fana safurla.
Before he gave us the notice, I apologize.
I am commandi.
He called us, the three of us, the wives.
Area council sita kumalla.
He told us that the area council discussed an issue.
Yani ikafutal.
And they've come to a conclusion. At the time our husband died, that they want to impound your shops, your assets. He told us that when the government wants to take your property, you have to bribe them. So now what you're going to do, you go to the shop owners, so that each one of them gives you a little bit of money. And so we went to the shop owners. We had 4 shops. So the husband, where he was the 4th shop, the 5th shop. So that 5th shop is what we gave to the guy selling food. So each one of our shop owners, the shops, the tenants gave us $5,000. The other one selling food gave us $2,000 because the business was just food stuff. We took the money and gave to him so that he could take the money to the area council. And so we were there for 6 months. He came back to us. I was sitting under a tree. He sent his messenger. So gave the letter to the sister in the house and said to her, this is what the CFO, the chief, said I should give to you. But the area council is saying that they have impounded your assets. So this woman said was surprised and asked whether the shops were owned by the area council. And the messenger said to her, well, I do not know. So, and told me to take the notice to them. Said, okay. Let them take it. So we were there. After 2 days, the 3rd day, we called the chief, Omar Sabali. Go and take your stuff from the shop. Why did you not go? I told you to remove your stuff. Are you trying to belittle me? Said to him, no. Said to him, I was sick. But today, by the grace of God, tomorrow, when my kids return, we will take a cart. We'll go and take our palm runs and our irons in the shop. And that was how we ended. So we took back, they gave back our irons and our palm runs. And so the area council took over our shops. So we came to know that area council sold the shops to Trust Bank. Those are our places, and that was where we got our sustenance from. So when they took those shops from us, our sustenance became a big issue after the demise of our husband.
Who is this Sefo you are referring to? What is his name?
Council kay be Sefu Jumale Mateng atodung.
Yeah, Judge C.
Yeah, Judge C.
Did area council tell you the reason why they seized your shops?
Council kay area council ye dalilo fali na bang munan na bitiko luta.
We asked them and they told us that the place belonged to them.
Aliaje mola baludula la bitiko la yelo amelo area council la dulato fo ayelo la suol nyatilingo la bitiko.
So our son Omar asked them how could it be that property that is built in front of someone's house would be property of the area council when the property has not been built on area council land. So they came and they demolished the structure and they were about to build a bank. So they came to the house and asked us. They asked us if we knew anything about the road. We said no. We said no, we don't know anything about the place near to the road because since they took our properties, we never go there anymore. I got up myself and I went. And I found out that they had started building the foundation for the bank. My house, the store which was close by, they dug a foundation very close to that store. I then went to the CFO, Judge C, the area council. I said to him, have you seen your people, what they are doing, how they are digging the foundation? He told them, I told you that after demolishing the structure there, do not start digging any foundation before I come to see what is in the ground. I said to him, well, let's go now and so that you can see that whether it will be possible after they have dug the foundation, if they put a structure there, whether a vehicle will then be able to enter into my store. Both of us then left and went to the place. When he arrived, he told him to move.
Okay.
Once that was done, he stood at the side and called me. He told me, today, if you have a house close to the road, if you are careful, the government will impound it. I said to him, yes. I said, yes, because I said, because our shop is big, that is a survival place, and so if the government impounds it, there's nothing we can do. I told him, when the government impounds our property, we will hold on to God. We must hold on to God. That was how we separated. We took over our shops. We hold on to God. Our things become difficult because survival now becomes a very difficult issue for us. And we had our family was a large family. And so we were in this situation up to this day that I speak to you.
Apart from the inquiries you made at area council, did you take the matter to court or to any other place like district tribunal or something?
Council kay na man kanyilin karol te aliyemen ke area council fali nyin ko samba kiti bundato le bang wala alla sefu kiti dinkirato wala alla dinkirato alka kol bo nyoto dami.
Ma samba daoda man brio kenna man hanyinya.
We did not go anywhere. Once they did that to us, we were afraid. We had no one to stand for us. When your husband is arrested in front of you,
itata nyin itata tilimbali ya fafat
And they take him and they maltreated him until he died.
sa ite dum be jikiriwal
And he was your only source of hope.
yo ni nata kudo sambeka
So now if they bring something else onto you,
be alala mutala
you just have to hold on to God.
mam fengo fenke foka ala mutala
We did not do anything except to hold on to God.
ni tarka wala nyama
That was how we were.
Do you have the documentation to that piece of land that you're talking about?
council ka ali kaytolu soton ne ban kali sedea ko atele tamo dinkira nyinti
ha fa nga kayto so don na kayto bembo
Yes, we have our documents. We have our documents.
Now, Ms. Vice Chairperson,
council ko vice chairperson
I'm done with all the questions I have for the witness.
nga nyinin karolu men soto sedo la karola ibantale
ha fa nyinin karolu banta
So, if the commissioners have questions for the witnesses,
wala nyinti commissioner lu men be siring foli nyinin kar soto le be te sedo nyinin kala menna
the floor is for them now.
chief
Thank you, Madam Chairperson.
nyinam bishop odikoti wala kana nyinin karola
Madam Kadi Kamara,
akai madam kadi kamara
do you know whether you have the receipts of the rates that you've been paying to area council?
akayan ko yeri sitolu soton ne bang alikan namo men jonung area council ani lempo fo risitolu bali bulle bang
ha na risol be jele
Yes, we have our receipts.
Thank you.
akayanum bara
Commissioner Kinti.
Yo, assalamu alaikum, Bakadi.
Greetings, Bakadi.
Yafu ko Alaji Mamadi yafu aliye ko ya samba bamba dinka.
You said Alaji Mamadi told you that they took took him to Babadinka,
Membe Joshua.
which is in Joshua.
Aje itine manta bende bam pour yeta foyelo ye alon ko jannem bamba dinka te warang ay taman serul dila ba me alon ko niwol noma isi mo sambano foka ya akadame mfonye jannem bamba dinka te.
Have you ever gone to see, to know where this place was, or has he explained to you so that you are able to direct anyone to the place to say that this is exactly the place that my husband was referring to?
fa mo kibaro to mo fenke fana
I have not got that information. I do not know.
Commissioner Samba.
Assalamu alaikum. Nandin kadi. Nafte nyinin kala fo
I want to ask you
Mamadi la fengolo kumfal droye wala taba fo kumfal nin korda.
whether Mamadi's properties, it was only the shops that they took, or was it also any other properties like houses?
e biti ko le ye kum faleta
They took only the shops,
min na baludula
and that was our place of sustenance. That was where we got our feeding from.
e bulola walelka
That was where they impounded.
Okay, abaraka.
Commissioner Boja.
Mbakadi Commissioner Boja.
Bakari,
La kumo kono ya foko
in your statement you said
sefo na teka ko era mansakuna na bulola la
chief
bulola
came to
fengol
you
kan
and said to you that when a government wants to impound your property,
komi area council ya fo nyami
as the area council,
ike dukule.
you have to bribe them.
e ke dukule
Sani la kumo kono ko bitiki do wuli saba do wuli fula.
In your statement, you said one shop gave you 3,000, the other one gave you 3,000, and the other one gave you 2,000.
Okola
After that,
sefo nata fo in area council nata bulola fengol ka duko kola.
after the bribery, the area council impounded your property.
Sa inata nyininga sefo nyininga sa nga kodo min dila pour kata duku oduko labantanya dile.
So did you eventually get to ask the chief what became of the money you gave him for the bribery, how it ended up? We did not ask how that money was used, because when someone says it's going to help you, we don't know whether he gave the money eventually to the area council or otherwise. We cannot tell, and we did not get to ask him as well. That's what I want to ask you, whether after the bribery something else happened, whether you know anything that happened after the bribery. The first wife said to the messenger, if somebody did a bribery for, somebody bribed you for 6 months, how could you then turn around and tell that person to evacuate from the place that he was bribing you for? The one that came to me, the notice, the messenger. The messenger said to her, I know nothing, I'm just a messenger. Said, well, that is it, let's just hold on to the paper. And that was how they came to take the shops. So just as she told me, when government lays its hand on your property, you just have to hold on to God. And that was what we did. We held on to God. Right now, 2 of our children are working, and they are the ones that are helping us. But before that, sometimes we'll have lunch and not dinner, and other times we have dinner, we don't have lunch, and that has been our situation. So we do a lot of agricultural work. We plant rice a lot of the times. But because of the large family that we have, the produce normally is not able to sustain us for long. And so this has been our situation till this day that I'm talking to you. 2 of our sons are now working, and those are the ones that are now supporting us. That is my statement.
Okay, Commissioner Jones.
Commissioner Jones. Madam Kamara.
Commissioner Jones, Madam Kamara.
Following your husband's release from detention,
did
the police recommence the visits like they used to before he was arrested and detained?
And
my second question, were you given any ultimatums in return for your the shops that were confiscated?
They did not give us any time. Someone that you asked to bribe you, give me money. And then you turn around and go back to the person and say to him that I'm now impounding your property. They did not give us any time.
The question about the police.
Police wolu kamurunna nenunga ayola nyinga wala for police wolu janni be ke mutai kana menke fo bring abularingo kola kana jele ba
nana man naje
no, they never came back.
I think
there is one thing I want to ask which is not very clear to me. You said that it was the chief that said that the area council impounded your shop because they own it. At the time, who was at the head of the area council?
No, Alaji Mamadou Som.
Alaji Mamadou Som was the head of the area council.
Ya council la kiyamano womu walisane wotumo walisane.
The chairman of the area council was Wali Sane.
The
letter they gave to you was the letter from the area council. The chief gave us the letter. This messenger gave us the letter saying that the area council has noticed us.
Okay, then before I give you back the chair, the session, Madam Lead Counsel, sorry. I'm a bit disturbed emotionally, that is why I am. But I just want to thank Madam Kadi Kamara for being a woman of courage.
Ako sirantio ko abe Madam Kadi Kamara numbara la ko musole me yalon ko a jusosoto a jusobenta.
And we are sorry for the pain that she and her family had to live through for 22 years.
Ako ise haketo nyinketantol fon e balafati inila dimbaye balu kolengo mentaki sanji muanim flawuci kono.
And the complicity of the agents who should have been protecting their rights.
Aning do kulalu meni nyanta atella nyantolu kantala wul fon nata ke molti menu dabula ta ko nyin kono.
We will look into all these institutional violations also, not only the human rights violations, but the institutional flaws that led to this situation.
Ako iba ko kono jubela hana manke hadama ya nyanta tinya dammanti bari doku bundalu fanali tinyaro lu menke be lu be korosila le kajibe.
And take this opportunity on behalf of all of us
akabe nyin silo talan mo be to ya la jang
to thank you
for
coming out
and
speaking out
and
helping us in our quest to establish the truth of the events that happened in the past 22 years and to promote reconciliation and reparations.
Say nyokango kidimandi anim fanang ka kata ka buluma sayoke.
And on that note, I would like to hand over.
O kango kang abediamu murundila.
Thank you very much, Madam Vice Chair.
Council Koinumbara,
Madam Vice Chair. At this point, Mbakadi, I would like to ask if you have anything to tell the nation.
Council ko nyintembe mbaka di mbe nyinin kala foy kuma soto ibela fila men fola Gambia banko mo.
You are free to do so now.
Saying isi o kuma kan lu fono.
I want to speak to Gambian women so that the kind of things that I experienced, if it befalls any other woman, let them not be afraid. Let them come before the commission and tell them about their troubles. There is no difficulty in it. There is no beating in it. Even if the people that committed murder were not beaten here, they will just ask you about your difficulties. What happened to you? What happened to your husband? And how you are managing your family. So if such a situation befalls any woman, make all efforts to ensure that you appear before this commission. Do not be afraid of anything. This is my statement.
Thank you very much, Mbakadi, for coming and sharing your experience with us. We appreciate your testimony. Thank you.
Akaye numbara bake Mbakadi nse wota bake puriyena yena nyi sede yaro kejang aketan telfonali bunyati.
Madam Chair, thank you, Mariama, for leading the witness so well.
Lead counsel ko inumbara bake Mariama puriye nyininkaro sambanyami.
This brings us to the end of the testimony of this witness. We can take a break now and we prepare for the next witness, who would start his testimony after the lunch break.
memba la sedaro damutalinin kontongo botala.
With your indulgence, I ask that we take our break now. Thank
Molu
you.
bela hammo kan abenyim fala ko nganna daha damuta sayin.
Request granted. We come back at 2 o'clock. Thank you.
Sirantio ko afanan sonta wo kanindirola nsim ngatana kontongola.